There he is. Hi, Dave.
Hello, David.
Which one's George?
If you get a minute, go yourself.
We know who he's talking to. Are we going? We're going, right?
Excuse me, just what does subscribe mean? What does that mean?
Okay, let's go to lunch.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jared Hall, Senior TV Editor at Entertainment Weekly. Welcome to the cast reunion of an endearing favorite TV sitcom, Just Shoot Me. Now, if you haven't already been watching episodes while at home, well, shame on you. But it's time to head on over to Hulu and get to it. The episodes are truly as funny today as they were when the show first aired from 1997 to 2003. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to the Just Shoot Me cast: Laura San Giacomo, Wendy Malick, George Segal, Enrico Colantoni, and David Spade. Also joining us, series director Pamela Fryman and series creator Stephen Levitan. Hello to all of you. Thanks so much. It must be nice to, even in these times, be able to meet up with each other.
It's very nice.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
And a little weird indeed. Well, I want to go back to the very, very beginning for all of you. When you got the pilot script for this, we're going to be auditioning. Do you remember your first impressions of your character and what really got you excited about the role? George, I'd like to start with you.
In the pilot script, Stephen had written a long speech for Wendy, for Nina, where her ass had fallen when she was lecturing the other models.
So, you want to grace the pages of Blush. Well, I want my old ass back, but chances are that's not going to happen.
It was funny. And that was enough for me. And then I wore the right suit when I went in for the interview. And Stephen said that he had seen me he had stayed up late to see me on the Tonight Show. And then I knew I was in. So that was the end of that. But it was a great first script. All of them have been great. So this was a happy 7 years.
Wendy, what was your memory of your first impression of Nina?
I remember walking into the room, and I think I knew in my bones that this had to be created for me, because I had been a model. And I can be dingy at times, and sounded like just something I had a feeling was going to have legs. And in fact, it did. I was really happy to get that job.
Stephen, would you like to confirm or deny that it was written because of her modeling days and dinginess?
She has the model look, and she had that attitude, and she played that vulnerability and that Nina insecurity so perfectly. There just wasn't another candidate when she walked in the room.
Laura, what was it about Maya that just jumped off the page at you?
Well, I remember being really taken with the father-daughter relationship, and that seemed like that was going to be the heart of the show, surrounded by all these crazy fun people. And then George I had just met right before I read the script, and then Wendy I had known for a really long time. And so it just felt like it was all coming together.
Enrico, tell me about Elliot. What did you love about him?
He got all the girls, apparently. But about the pilot, it really was that last scene between Jack and Maya that brought it home for me. It was all fun and games until that last scene where you saw all the heart.
I'm terrified I'm going to make the same mistakes with her that I made with you.
Then don't. There's nothing magic about it. That's your daughter in there. When she holds out her arms, pick her up. When she has a dance recital, don't be in a meeting. And when she tries to push you away, don't let her.
David, what was your first impression of Dennis?
It's about time. No, I think, it's interesting hearing these stories, because if I'm right, I joined a little later than these guys, and
yes, you did.
It was presented to me in a different way, because I could actually watch the show and read it. I read it and then I could watch it, and it was already funny. And for seasoned actors that were great, and I sort of saw an opportunity to be a part of that. It was fine without me, but if I jumped in, then it would be just one more element to goof around. I like Maya and George, I like their thing. And I was just sort of, running in circles in the middle of it all, but it was great. And I had seen Wendy on shows, and George was on Room 222 and the Lucille Ball show. And
Let me just say, it was not together, and that show did not come together until David joined us. And that was the spark that brought that show to life, in my view.
Yeah, we had shot another pilot and that character was just a much smaller, few line character, and our set was very weird. If you all recall, the craziest set.
The staircase.
You missed the staircase.
Oh, right, the staircase.
Yeah, Nina had a fabulous entrance down the staircase, and she loved it so much. But the set was insane, and it would have been nuts to shoot there for 7 years. So we did a whole redesign of the set, and we did, and then the biggest thing was adding David. But David didn't join easily. I remember it took about 4 meetings.
Not easily.
We wanted him, but he wasn't sure. It was committing to something, and he didn't want to make the wrong choice.
I'm shy.
I remember it took a while for Davey to come and have lunch with us on the set. He was a little worried that maybe we were enemy territory. I think it came from Saturday Night Live that was much more competitive than what we were doing.
I think it was partially a little scary at SNL, and I knew not to step on toes there, and everyone was sort of in their own world fighting for themselves. And this was everyone, I realized, wanting me to do good, and I wanted them to do good. And it's like a little team.
Well, I would have liked you more, David, if you had shared that 16 years ago.
You have to peel the layers of the onion.
Did that happen pretty immediately? Did you feel that at your first table read?
I would say yes. When David came and we reshot the pilot, even though I didn't have the staircase, which still pisses me off.
Pamela is one of the directors on the series. This cast versus others you've worked with, what was the magic, the secret sauce here from your perspective?
I guess besides great talent and great writing, everybody really loved each other. And we had so much fun, but we always did the work, all had lunch together. And when there would be a 5, people weren't running off. They cared about each other. It was magic.
What was the root of the idea for this series? Where did it come from?
And I thought it was an interesting conversation. What role does physical beauty play in our society? And that was sort of the place where it all started. And then you just got to dig for where does the comedy come from?
And there was a good episode with Laura and having an unattractive guy and an attractive guy, and to see if it made a difference, the attractiveness in their effectiveness.
Laura, you chose Hostess to Murder. George also mentioned this one, season 3, episode 16, where Maya's throwing this murder mystery party.
Here we are.
Hey, Vince, you look great.
Yeah, I feel like Mr. Peanut.
I feel like this episode is really indicative of how much fun everyone had, and you guys have kind of alluded to, being a bigger family. But tell me, how close, obviously, you were off camera, and how things translated behind the scenes.
Well, I'd been thinking about that episode because of the great Fred Willard, and we were so lucky to have him.
Listen closely to everyone's clues and try to solve the mystery, if you dare. Oops, I'm also a massage therapist.
There was several lines from that script that we used to say for years after.
I just remember the shipment of wood. I just got a.
Oh, yeah, wood.
Well, as luck would have it, I just received a fresh delivery of wood.
And it was just this kind of the characters were in this heightened world and seemed to be enjoying that.
Laura, I remember when I'm hitting on the girl on the balcony of this tall building, and I go,
I'm here to make your fantasy come true.
Great. Try not to land on my car.
That episode, when we rehearsed that episode, we laughed more. We couldn't get through the scenes.
Every time that bell rang, and the way everybody just would flip their cards.
Is everybody with me? Does everybody finally understand?
David, your SNL family came over to Just Shoot Me. Wendy, one of the episodes that you chose, the assistant, Sherry O'Terry, was part of that.
You look as pretty as a sunbeam.
Sherry was so brilliant as this completely wackadoo charged assistant to poor Maya, who was losing her mind having her around. She was just out of control. But that whole episode was just so beautifully crafted and made me laugh so hard.
What did you do to my pen? Did you chew my pen, Cindy? This was very bad, Cindy. Very bad.
Well, was that the episode where there was a conceit that she was like a dog?
Yes. And George at the end with his cigar. I know a guy. She's going to go to a company on the upper floor.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh my God.
There's way more room to run around up there.
Really?
And it's a non-smoking floor with plenty of fresh air.
Well, that sounds pretty good.
Every aspect of that show was so specific and so well crafted.
How's it look? Perfect, or to quote Wednesday's word, proofiglicious. Proofiglicious. Something that is excellent or strives to be excellent.
Do you remember some of those words from the calendar, by the way?
Persefunctant.
Oh my gosh.
Aren't you being just a tad persefunctant?
That's why I want to change my favorite episode. I keep changing it.
Go for it. What's yours?
It's a tie for like 50. I remember I love when George and I were playing poker and there was it seemed like it was a romance. It was shot like a soap opera. I thought that was really smart. Of course, on a goofier level, 2 girls and 1 Finch when I was trying to get 2 girls to have sex with me.
Yeah.
One of the top 10 hysterical nights of my entire life. My body has never been in such pain from laughing than Wendy and I, Nina in the cantina.
That was so ridiculous.
Before you go, could you just give me a hug, you know, like you used to?
Darling, it's the only thing I can do like I used to.
I forgot about so many of these because I haven't seen
Yeah,
them.
me too.
And watching you sing Hot Nights in Paris,
God.
I laughed so hard watching that again and watching Rico's face.
Rico's face is so brilliant.
Favorite.
1, 2, 3. Nights in Paris. Oh, won't we miss them though?
We still sing it, don't we, Laura?
Yes, we do. And Pam, you sat on the couch with me right before I started singing because I was so nervous. And you were so sweet.
It was very sweet.
Yeah, Laura, your guitar playing in that one, Hot Nights in Paris, had you played before? That was just for this.
It's awful, and I just had learned 3 chords. I had to barely change chords.
You were so totally committed to it, and you sold it. It was just so awful, and so brilliant.
Yes, thank you, Beth.
It was very musical. You sounded great.
Où est le temps perdu? Where did the time go? I'm coming home, America.
Où est le temps perdu?
George, I have a jump-in question. Do you remember when there was a great ending to an episode where I think someone saw my wiener in the steam room and it looked big, and so everyone was freaked out?
Is it hot in here? Is it just me?
And then at the very end, Elliot, you realize I'm hitting on a girl and I'm bombing, and then you said,
Poor Dennis. It's a story as old as time. Great product, lousy sales department.
and then Elliot, you go, see those clouds are starting to open up and the sun's coming back?
I believe it is, Elliot. I believe it is.
Because you guys were both depressed, and then you realize it never gets
He doesn't
used.
know how to use his power.
Yeah, that was
my
great.
gosh. You guys, Lacage. That was such a great episode.
It's not the birdcage, is it?
Yeah, Lacage. where she puts you guys in the birdcage. Oh, my God, that was so funny.
You're calling from the cage, aren't you?
Yes.
And also the Brian song episode. Oh my God, you guys were so funny in that.
So the good news is for Hulu, there's more than 5 funny episodes.
Yeah. All I remember about those first 6, Stephen, and just correct me, of course, but there was just an attempt to just go crazy. There was always a little trepidation about, can we get away with this? Can we get away with this? That's how I remember it. And Lemon Wacky Hello was the pinnacle episode of that energy.
Ooh, candy. Lemon Wacky Hello?
It's supposed to be delicious. My cab driver told me about it when I inadvertently tipped him a year's salary.
I think it was the first, again, farcical ensemble piece that we did in those first.
And you're right. That was a giant swing for early on. You know, one might say that's a kind of episode that you earn, you know, over time.
Yeah.
And we just went, you know, who knows if we'll be back.
Yeah,
let's just do it.
You can't just put hair anywhere. Hair anywhere. Hair anywhere.
Hair anywhere.
Hair anywhere.
It was almost a bonding experience, like having taken hallucinogenics together. Because the sense memory or imagination of all of us made us feel like we truly were in the middle of some kind of an acid trip. And there's a great trust and sort of goofiness that is involved in those. I can tell you from experience. And we responded to each other as if we were taking a trip together.
Something's amiss. Something's askew. Yeah. Something or someone is a little out of whack. Is it you?
No.
You know, and we were in a tough era, meaning a great era of TV, when we were up there on with Seinfeld and Friends and Frasier and Will and Grace. There's so many good shows on, and it made it harder to keep up because we had to be sharper and sharper. And I think that was good to have great shows around us because everyone got elevated. So you wouldn't stand out as the crummy one. And then we stayed on the air, and it was great.
You know what? One of my biggest memories of the show is at every table read, there had to be, it was always George reaching for the paper towel because he was crying laughing at every table read. It was just fantastic.
It doesn't get better than Lucy Lawless whacking Enrico. That was so funny.
She called ass, man. She let me have it every time.
Why are you doing this to me? I'm paying you.
There was no stage slap. That was pop.
Point to your pancreas now.
I have a feeling you told her, just go for it. Just go for it.
I think I might have just go for it.
You really did. So that was actual contact.
Oh, yeah. He loved it, too.
I love the one where George, where you zapped Rico with the stun gun.
Oh, I told you to stop playing with that thing.
It doesn't work anyway, see?
Right. Again, physical comedy. He's a master.
Good, it does work.
Wait, no one talked about Slow Donnie.
Oh,
yeah. Slow Donnie.
Another one. There's a lot.
Happy birthday, Donnie.
I'm Donnie with a D.
That was another, this could go either way kind of episode.
A lot of them we couldn't do today, that's for sure.
I faked falling out of that tree. Now everybody waits on me hand and foot. It is the sweetest scam in the world.
That's some of my friends' favorite episode when they mention, that one comes up a lot.
I still say my pants are tight.
My pants are tight.
My pants are tight. I say that too. Green quarter.
Green quarter. He likes paper money.
How would Blush Magazine be handling the quarantine?
And actually, I realized Nina would probably be out doing all the things you're not supposed to be doing.
Jack would be on a show called The Goldbergs.
Yes.
Well, all of you, thank you so much. I love taking this trip down memory lane. Of course, the entire series, Just Shoot Me, is available on Hulu. This has certainly inspired you to go watch all those episodes again, or perhaps for the first time. Special thanks to Laura San Giacomo, Wendy Malick, George Segal, Enrico Colantoni, David Spade, Pamela Fryman, and Stephen Levitan for joining us. And thanks to all of you for watching.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Great to see everybody.